Technology. I welcome all of you for the webinar titled Studies Abroad by Mr. Vishwanathan Mahalingam, 2005 batch. I call upon Miss Sadakshi from second year BTech IT G2 to introduce the today's speaker.
Thank you, ma'am. A very warm greetings to everyone present here. I, Shatakshi Vats, welcome you all for today's webinar on Studies Abroad, hosted by IT Alumni Association of PSG College of Technology. I take a great privilege in introducing and honoring our presenter and an alumnus of PSG College of Technology, Mr. Vishwanathan Mahalingam, who is currently working as a Director of Engineering Core Platform at Wrightsville in San Francisco, US.
Thank you for the warm welcome, Sakshi. On to the thing, let's establish few ground rules. So if you have any questions, please post on the chat, and I'll try to answer them towards the end. Okay, so let's go. Since she covered my background, I'll slip this slide. So let's talk about the agenda. Okay, I'm going to split my talk into 3 sections. Okay, so the first section will cover why. So why study abroad? That will be the first section. The second section I'll cover on how. So any recommendations I have, any suggestions I have, I'll provide. And the third session we'll have it for Q&A. So let's go. So before I start on higher studies, right? Let me start with high school. Okay, since you're all familiar, you all recently graduated from high school. Let's start there. Okay, so I do are 2 schools in small towns. Okay, so one of them is Ramakrishna Vidyalaya. So let's call it as RVM. Okay, it's in Viluppuram, and the other one is MSP Solai Nadar. It's in Dindigul. MSP is a government aided school. Okay, so which is the teachers staff and the salary, they are all paid by Tamil Nadu government, and the management is private. Okay, and MSP had 4 Tamil medium and 2 English medium schools classes, whereas Ramakrishna is a matriculation school. So Ramakrishna, the fees in Ramakrishna is actually 5 times more than MSP. Okay, and just to give context, the student quality in both these schools are more or less same. I mean, I got almost 5th rank or 6th rank in both these schools when I studied in my 10th as well as in my 12th standard. Okay, Dindigul town is relatively wealthy than Viluppuram. Okay, so I just want to give you a background context on this. Then during 2001, we had something we had an entrance exam. Okay, so I'm assuming that right now the cutoff you all wrote in your 12th standard is actually for 200, right? So during that time, the cutoff is 300, where the 200 marks came from public exam, which is same as maths accounted for 100, and then physics and chemistry accounted for 50 and 50 marks. Okay, and similarly entrance exam was separate, and it accounted for 100 marks. Okay, so given the context, I want to ask a question. How many students do you think were admitted to PSG Tech in 2001 batch, the batch I joined from these 2 schools? Okay, both these schools, the student quality is similar, and in first school it's a matriculation where the parents paid 5 times more fees than the second school. Okay, so how many students do you think were so in Ramakrishna totally there were 200 students overall, and in MSP there were 300 students overall. Okay, so if you can type your answers in Slack, let me just give one in chat. Let me give you a few minutes before we jump on. Okay, how many people do you think were admitted to PSG Tech in 2001 from Ramakrishna and MSP? All of you just make a guess. Type 2 numbers on the chat. Okay, I see the answer from Kartika. Anybody else? Just make a guess. It's okay. So from Ramakrishna, actually the total strength was 200, and from MSP the strength was 300. Just make a wild guess. How many students were admitted in PhD Tech from Ramakrishna and like from MSP correspondingly in 2001 batch. Okay. Surya says around 10. Just like one more. Somebody else, like one more person. Okay, want to make this a little bit interactive session. So feel free, just like type. It's okay. There's like no right, wrong answers. Like, of course, like you all don't have like background. So I'm just like, I just want to make a point. So that's why I'm asking these. Okay, cool. There were two more people, like few more people like who answered. Like Apurva says like 2 and 3, and Aishwarya Gunasekaran says like 5. Okay, so now let's look at the actual like answers. Okay, so from Ramakrishna, actually like nobody joined, right? It's a matriculation school. It's a better school in Viluppuram. The people like who joined were like actually 0, right? So in MSP, actually 8 students like joined along with me. Okay. So all of these like 8 people were admitted across like different branches, like automobile, ECE, computer science. 2 of us were in IT, mechanical, like metallurgy, and so on. So so this presents like a puzzle, correct? So there's like one school which is like a government-aided school where the parents are like paying like less fees, but like actually more students like join like a college like PhD Tech. Okay. And also just want to like give context, this 8 students like who joined, they were spread across like different social categories. Okay, like so they are like from OC, like BC, MBC, SC, ST, so across like all social categories. So how did like this happen? Okay, like so how come from one school where I like kind of like I studied till 10th, I pretty much like got the student qualities are like same. So how come like more students were joining from like MSP, right? So the answer lies in a word called like ecosystem. So what I call ecosystem is, let me explain. The tuition masters like in MSP, right? They are like well advanced and like they have like a very good knowledge on the Tamil Nadu entrance like exam. Okay, so the MSP school teachers, they let me know if I'm like talking like fast. I'll like slow down. So let me know if you have like anything. So the school teachers in MSP, right? Like they had the previous like 10-year entrance exam. So actually, few years after my batch, the government like cancelled entrance exam. So they decided only to go with like public marks. So the MSP teachers like pretty much had like 10 years like question papers, right? And also the MSP teachers like pretty much started the entrance exam preparation right after like my 11th standard like was ended. So pretty much like in Dindigul, we all started like prepping like for entrance like a year before. Whereas in like Viluppuram, we pretty much like started the preparation only after the 12th public exam. So there is a huge difference between how much time we prepared like for entrance. In one school, it was like 1 year. In the other school, it was like 1 month. Right? Then the other thing I want to like highlight is like the school alumnus. Consistently, like from MSP, students were like going to PhD Tech, like Guindy Engineering College, like MIT in like Anna University, and like many students were also going for MBBS, right? So this provided like a feedback loop to the tuition masters. So the tuition masters like knew like how did their coaching work, and there was like alumni people like who are going to like really like good colleges. And the numbers like I showed previously changes like if you include the other colleges like similar to PhD Tech, and if you include like medical, then the number of students like who are going from MSP are like much better than like Ramakrishna. I mean, of course, the numbers I'm saying are all like belonging to the 2001-2002 time frame. Okay, so they're not like current. So don't quote me on the numbers like now. It's all like 15 years like ago or 20 years ago. Okay. So then the other part is like MSP had a hostel. Okay, so around 8 students like who qualified like for MSP. No student like from hostel were actually like no student like from hostel actually gotten to any of these like big institutions, probably except one who went to like a medical college, because like the hostel students were like not allowed to like take tuitions like outside. Okay, then the other key thing is nobody like from Dindigul went to actually any IITs in 2001, because one, we don't have an ecosystem. There were like no awareness of like IIT JEE. There was like no IIT JEE coaching in like Dindigul. So that's like the context. So few things I want like talk, right? Like what are the things like we took from high school to like PhD Tech. So one is like early preparation, definitely like a preparation like of 1 year, like ahead, like actually worked. Then the second points are like the tuition masters or like the staff or like faculty. Then like the feedback loop from alumni network. So this is the background context. So having said that, now let's get into this question, right? Why higher studies like abroad? So one of my relative like asked, what do we not have like in India? Like, why are you going to like abroad, right? Like he was like, hey, like why do you want to like go there? You already study in like a premier like college like in India. Like what is missing? Like what we don't have? Like and why are you going to like study? So before answering that, I want to like actually clearly like state one thing. Okay, so to actually work abroad, you don't need to like study. Okay, so many of my PhD classmates who are well settled in their life, they didn't like study abroad. Like so many of them are like working abroad. So they didn't like study. So just want to like be clear that you don't need to study to go abroad and like work. Okay, so financially they are well off. Like they have they are like better than me in like financially. So just want to like state that as well. So now let's make one more thing. Okay, let me like try to like answer from my point of view why like study abroad, right? So again, I want to like ask a question. Let's look at few things. So the first thing I want to like talk about is yearly operational like expense, right? So what do I mean by yearly operation expense? Is like the amount of money we are like spending to for like salary, right? Like our teaching and like non-teaching like staff, how much money are we like spending? And like how much money are we like using for maintaining like our academic infrastructure, be it like labs, like hostel, and how much money are we spending like for seminars, like conferences and like workshops? Okay, so having said this, let's look at how much money like are we spending right now. So in PhD Tech, our yearly operations expense in the year 2019 is like around 11 million. So it's like around 84 crores. So these data are like there publicly. So if you look at our national ranking, so I took like these things like from our engineering like ranking website. Okay. So we know that PhD is like one of the top engineering colleges in like Tamil Nadu, and like in PhD Tech, we are spending close to 84 crores. Now let's look at IIT Madras. Okay, so IIT Madras is like our #1 engineering institute in India, right? Again, can you all make a guess? How much will we be like? What is the operational expense of like IIT Madras like for a year? Just like make a guess. If PhD number is like 11 million, make a guess how much will be like IIT Madras yearly expenditure. No one wants to make, just like type some number. Okay, somebody says like 50 crore, sorry, like 5 million. Okay, so if PhD Tech, let's keep like the numbers in millions. Okay, so if PhD Tech is like 11 million per year, what do you think IIT Madras's operational expenses? Okay, somebody says like 20 million. Okay, 15 million. Nivi says like 20 million. Chatreshwar says like 5 million. 5 million? Come on, PhD Tech itself is like 11 million. We are like one and top best in like Tamil Nadu, like one among the best. IIT Madras is like best in India, right? So how much like do you think IIT Madras? Up your numbers. Okay, 15 to 20. Up even more. Okay, 25. Even more. Okay, somebody says like 100. Okay, so Kevin, you are like pretty close. Okay, so IIT Madras's yearly expenditure is like $110 million. which accounts to 830 crores. Okay, so again, I'll share these slides like later with you, and I have like added links like to the end, which like kind of like points to the numbers. Okay, so now let's talk about like Georgia Tech. Okay, so Georgia Tech is like one among the top engineering institutes across like the world, not just like in the US, but across the world. And in engineering, like in undergrad and like in grad, they rank within like top 10 like in the US. Okay, so again, make a guess what will be like the yearly operations expense like for Georgia Tech. Just like make a wild guess. Again, let's put like a number. Okay, Mughil says like 500. Aishwarya says like 500. Okay, somebody says like 110 million. Chatreshwar. Okay, Aaron Joshua says like 1 billion. Okay, Mahita says like 700. Okay, oh, somebody says like 3 billion. That's a lot. Okay, so let's look at the actual numbers, right? So Georgia Tech says like the yearly expenditure like for Georgia Tech is like $1.6 billion, which is like around 12,000 like crores. Okay, so here I just want to like highlight that the this is just to like give you like the scale of like the universities. Okay, scale of like the institutes. It's not like on any comment on like the academic output or like kind of like the quality of like students or like whatnot. This is just to like give you like the scale. Okay, like so pretty much like Georgia Tech is like almost 150 times like bigger than like PhD Tech, and like close to like 15 times like then or like 13 to 15 times like more than IIT like Madras. Okay, so now let's look at few more like details, right? So why how like what is the big difference, and like how is like it's how is it like so wide, right? So the critical thing is like first is research funding. Okay, so in India, like the main like research funding like coming from government, like the government of India is going to research institutions. Okay, so CSIR, DRDO, HAL, BARC, CDAC, CDOT. So government has like created many like research institutes which are there like for last like 50 years. So the primary like funding which is like coming from government actually goes to these like institutes, and only like a very few or like a little amount is like trickling down to like colleges and like universities. Okay, the key difference is like in US, mostly the research funding like from National Science Foundation like on related like research institutes, like the research funding from government goes to both research institutions and universities. Okay, so the amount of like funding which like the universities get is actually like much bigger, and like that's why like the scale is like far like kind of like higher. Okay, so more money in like research attracts actually like kind of like students, attracts like kind of like faculty, attracts like kind of like the money like the faculty is being paid, and that leads to more innovations and like more ideas. Okay, so maybe like the new defense like corridor projects which the government of India has like announced in the last like kind of like year, right? So they have like announced that there'll be like an industrial corridor in Tamil Nadu between Coimbatore and like Madras in Chennai. So that will like result in potentially that may result in more funding and money to like the companies, and like we'll hope that like some of them will like come to our universities and like colleges. But the key difference in scale I just want to like highlight is the research funding. Okay, and then as like a consequence of it, it also goes to like faculty, right? So like I earlier said, the money like primarily goes to faculties like staff, and like from there they can like create organizations like, so they attract like kind of like PhD students where they like pay well like the PhD students. They attract like graduate students where they kind of like pay well to the graduate students. Okay, and similarly the faculty, if you like compare, the faculty is also like paid on par like with industry, right? Like almost like if you take any top company like say Google or like Facebook or like any of these like companies, if not like the same amount, it's also like significantly like higher. That's like the second thing. And third point is like actually the faculty also has like tenure and like non-tenure aspects. which is like only if you have like tenure, your job will be like permanent. And initially you have to like bring funding to change like from non-tenure job to like tenure job. Okay, so that's like the key difference or like key highlight. So just want to like state research funding, which I said earlier. And the second thing I want to like state is like faculty. Okay, so now let me give you like two examples, right? So one is like I want to talk about like Professor like Mushtaq Ahmed. So he is like from Rajasthan. He completed his like undergrad in like BITS Pilani, and he completed his like masters in computer science and PhD like from SUNY Stony Brook, New York. So he was a professor in Georgia Tech, and he had like funding like from NSF, which attracted like really like talented students. So one of them was like Vijay Balasubramaniam. So he was like a PhD student who worked with Mushtaq Ahmed like earlier. And Vijay and like Mushtaq were Professor Mushtaq were my mentors at like Georgia Tech. So Professor Mushtaq like provided me like research funding like for second year, right? Like so he pretty much like paid my Georgia Tech fees in second year, like which was like relatively like a high amount, around like $25,000 like that time. And he also like gave me like a funding part, which is like around $1,600 like per month. So and like kind of like the research which Vijay like did. Later, Vijay and like Professor Mushtaq Ahmed, like they went and like created like their own company. So this is like another aspect where like most of the faculty can also like start their own company, which is which like in future like colleges like PhD will like do. And already if you see like IIT Madras, they are already like doing this. If you look at IISc Bangalore, the professors and like the staff like there, they already like are like starting like companies. So we already have like some well-known like professors like that who had like started like many like companies. Okay, but like I just want to like highlight that Professor like Mushtaq Ahmed was like one such person like who had the money like from NSF. And similarly, I also want to like highlight one more professor, Steve Dickerson. So he was like a professor in like Georgia Tech. So he actually like provided like the initial like seed funding for like the company I'm working for. So I'm working in a company called like RightCell. It's like a startup. Like I'm working there like for 8 years. So my founders like for Arjav Trivedi and like Arun Elangovan, like who are actually like alumnus like from Georgia Tech. Professor like Steve actually like paid or kind of like gave the initial like seed funding. Okay, using which like they further developed. So I'll talk about like these companies like more in depth during our like next talk like next week, and I'll also add like few more startups and examples, right? But the highlight thing, the thing I want to like highlight is there is like money which is coming from government, like from National Science Foundation, like other institutes in like US, which flows to like professors, and like that from there it flows to like companies and like students and like so on. Okay, so this is what like I call as like ecosystem, which in India we have to like build in like future. Okay, and in like some places they already like started that. So this covers like my first like part of like why, right? So I'll pass like a bit. Just want to like ask if any of you have questions. Like, am I going too fast? Like too slow? Should I like slow down? Let me know. If not, like we'll continue with we'll continue with the second part. Okay, I'm taking the silence as continue. Okay. So now let's talk about like the how, right? Like so again here when I prepared and like applied, it's around like 2005 to 2007 time frame. So definitely like whatever worked for me are like the exact steps may be different like now, maybe different in like in the 2020 like time frame when you all will be like graduating, right? So like I won't be able to like tell you the exact like steps because I don't know, it's going to like change, but I'll give you like an overview on the approach like I took and many of my like friends like took during that time, right? So that will help you like decide on like your own thing. So I'm just going to like talk about like the approaches which we took during our time. So some of them like might be helpful like for you. So here I just want, I'm just like highlighting the students. So like I'm just like listing all the people who are from my class, like from the IT department in 2005 time frame, who all like went to for higher studies, like both in India as well as like abroad, in MBA as well as like in computer, like in masters, right? So I'm just like highlighting the names. Like I can later share like their LinkedIn profiles. You can like go and check. So during my time, there were around like 100 students like who studied in my batch. So out of that like 100, around like 20 students went for higher studies. I might have like missed some names here, like so it might be like more than 20, but like these are the names like I know of, right? So I later share like the names, like I have like a spreadsheet, and I'll like share that with Professor Sharda Bihai, and she can like share it with you, right? So the one thing I want to highlight, if you see here, right, we graduated in 2005, but like some of them like went to higher studies like right after their graduation in 2005, and some of them like went a little bit like later, 2 years like later, and I went like after 3 years, after working for 3 years, and some of them went after like working for 4, and some of them even like Prashakti, like one of my classmates, she went after like kind of close to 8 years, right? So here like right after like graduation, who were relatively like wealthy, who had like the money to pay like the university fees like right after that, so they were like the first batch of like students like who went, right? So one thing I want to highlight here is we stayed in like touch with many of these students. Okay, see, I would like consider, I wouldn't like actually consider everyone as my friend when I was in like undergrad. Okay, probably like a few of them are like my close friends, but many of them I just like had like a good like relationship, but never like kind of like a personal relationship, right? But the thing is, like whenever they came back, like after their first year, like 6 months, like whenever they were visiting like India, like we went and like spoke to them, right? So both like male and female students, like we went and like spoke to them. We were asking, hey, okay, how was like Virginia Tech? How was like Germany? Like how did you go there? And personally, like I didn't have like an idea to study right after like my graduation. I wanted to like work first in like India, and I didn't have like an idea, right? So only after like I worked like 3 years, like only after that time, pretty much like these classmates helped me to actually like kind of like apply, right? So so if there is like one takeaway, I would say actually stay in touch with your like classmates. Okay, even those who you think are not your friends like right now, who you think are like probably your friends, like frenemies, like however you want to call, stay in touch. It's like pretty important actually, because you want to like know what is going on, right? So you might like later decide, hey, okay, like I thought like I liked company A, I joined, I wanted to work, but probably like it's not working out, right? So you want to like move on. So definitely like your classmates are your like best friends. So similar to like the ecosystem I talked about in the journey like from high school to PhD Tech, the alumni network and like your classmates are like your ecosystem like here, right? So like I was even in touch with like many of my senior students who helped me to like write SOPs. They advised on like the colleges, like they told me like which universities are like better, which ones have like funding. So what like kind of like so they provided like a lot of guidance, right? So that's like one thing I want to like state, and also like we'll like briefly touch about like COVID like later. So the thing is like there were like crises like in the past too, right? Like in 2008 there was like financial like crisis. So students like who went to study during that time, they struggled a bit. Some of them like had to postpone their graduation. Some of them had to like return back. Like so there were like a lot of other considerations. But in general, my suggestion is like actually stay with your like friends, be in touch with your like batchmates, right? So like they are your best assets. many of the smart students, like you'll find like your PhD classmates are like really like smart, right? Like so it will probably like you won't realize that like now, but later like you will realize. So the key thing I want like stress again is like actually your ecosystem, right? Say for example, like in this list, Rajendran, who was like my friend, like he helped me to like he was like from Tamil medium. He was like he studied in like Madurai, so in his like high school. So he helped me to like present like papers, right? Srinath, who I was like not really in touch with like during my undergrad time, he helped me to like review my SOPs. So Ranganathan here, he gave me like his GRE books. He wrote like before. So I helped like few students like who came after me. Priya here and like Vaishnavi. So we were in touch, like we were asking, as well as like Anand, who you all met like recently, right? Like earlier. So they all like helped me in understanding like, okay, hey, like how do we like apply? What are the chances? Like what should we change? Like what is the best chance? Like how do we like kind of get into like even like better schools, right? So they all like helped. So that's one thing I want to highlight. And probably like, during my second year, if you ask me, hey, like, okay, do you think like these people like will help you? I would say like no way, probably like no. but actually like they do. So that's why I'm saying keep kind of like you have like stay in touch with them and kind of like constantly like talk, right? So just to like summarize, I'll say like few of my recommendations. I would like recommend to not go for like higher studies like right after your undergrad. I'll say actually like take like work for at least like 2 years, 2 or 3 years. So that gives you like an idea of like what it means to like work in a company, right? Like so what it means to work in a company. You will get a hands-on in handling like money, like in your own like finances. For people like who haven't like stayed outside their home, like for hostelites, it's like great. For day scholars, like you'll stay like away from your like home and like parents. So so in multiple ways, I think or like my suggestion is actually work for 2 years, okay, at least. So that gives you like in building like a better profile, right? And also in 2001 2005 time frame, during my time frame, right, there was like limited internet access. We had like only 3 hours like daily, and that's like only available like in the IT department lab or like in library. And we didn't have like smartphones. We had like very few mobiles, right? Like so in the class, like I didn't own a mobile phone like till I graduated. Like only I bought my first mobile phone from my internship like stipend, right? So and none of us like had like smartphones. So all these are all Nokia like 1100 like kind of like phones. And we're also like the third batch of IT department. So we didn't actually have like a bigger alumni network. So even most of our seniors, they were just like heading to like universities, and like we didn't have like anyone who were like working in the industry like for 10 years or like 15 years. So so we didn't like shy away from like reaching out to alumni of like other departments like computer science, like ECE, and also like friends like from our high school and like other networks, right? So now I'm saying like relatively it's like easier to stay in touch, right? Like you have like WhatsApp, you have like LinkedIn, you have like internet. So the information you are having is like much higher than like what we had. And also like I spoke with like few of the alumni like who came in the 90s, right? Like who came in the 87s, 88s, 90s, who came to like the US. So their stories are even more kind of like mind-boggling like during the time. So many of them like if they apply like for universities, they have like wait for 6 years. I mean like kind of like 6 months to hear back like from the colleges. And once you go there, it's not easy to like stay in touch. It like kind of like just to like call or talk to your like friends and like family, it's really expensive. Even to like get like dollars, like converting from rupee to dollar is you have to like get central government like approval. So it's not like as easy as like now. So relatively, our like during our time itself, like it became easier, and during your time, like it's like even more, much more like easier, I would say, right? So during my time, like say for example, like 7 students like from like PhD Tech, like we joined like a Georgia Tech like almost at the same time. like there were students like who joined like in different departments like mechanical, like material sciences, and like so on. And 2 of them like went ahead and like they completed their PhDs. So but like pretty much like we were throughout, like we were in like touch with everyone, right? And during that time, when I was in like undergrad, like I didn't have like any idea about like GRE, right? Like I didn't know about like GRE, but there was like this alumnus whose name was like Yamanur Srihari. So he was like a PhD student like from Stanford. He finished his like undergrad like from mechanical department, PhD tech, but he went on to like study like in Stanford. Probably he's like one of the one or like only one PhD student like from PhD tech who went to Stanford. So he was like running a Yahoo group called GRE Success. Okay, so some of my classmates like were part of like that group, and he was like posting how to like prepare like for GREs. He was like writing like PDFs. He was giving suggestions and ideas on how to like prepare, right? And there was this like forum called Edulix. It's still there, www.edulix.com, EDULAX. I'll share all these slides so you don't need to take notes. So there students like from PhD Tech and like from other colleges like in India, like they who were like recently graduates and who were like studying abroad, they were constantly like reviewing your like SOPs and like constantly like reviewing your profiles. So when we like post there, they'll say like, okay, hey, like for this profile, like probably like this is like you'll get a good chance of like admit. Maybe you need to like kind of like maybe you won't like get an admit and like so on. So they were like reviewing our like profiles, like SOPs, like based on our GRE score, based on our like work experience and so on. So I would say if I have to like give like a high level suggestion, work for 2 years, stay definitely like with your like stay in touch with your like alumni and batchmates, especially with those who you think are not your friends like right now, because you never know. And like anybody, my suggestion is anyone who's smart, that person has to be your friend. Okay, so that's like one comment I would say, and use the time to build your like profile. Okay, like for better university, which is like prepare and like join, like try to like aim for like a better company, like contribute to like open source projects. So build like do paper presentations. So build your like profile. So take your time. Think like which universities like you want to go. Think why you want to like study. So these things will like help. And definitely like one thing I would say is like avoid agencies. I would totally recommend not going to like any agency to help write SOPs or like shortlist your university profile and like whatnot. And use your like alumni network for that. The reason is like these agencies like have no idea on like the rankings of the university or the workings of the university. Like, okay, fine, they might get you an admit in like XYZ college. There were like more than 4,000 universities in like US and like a lot more in Canada and like Australia and like UK and everywhere. But they have very little idea on like what students do after like going there. Like what is the funding chance? Like what is the research like chance? How much like funding the lab has? Like who's the best professor there? Like so those like all those things like these agencies like won't be able to like provide. So I would strongly like recommend not to like get into like any agency, right? Now COVID. So what about like COVID and like coronavirus, right? So whatever I have been saying so far might all go for a toss like after this like COVID thing. Like we don't know when it is going to get over. There's like an uncertainty. But one thing I want to highlight is like there were similar crises, like probably in a smaller scale in the past, right? Like I was saying, like in the 2007 financial like crisis, and like when I joined PhD Tech, that's similar to like your time, like what you're talking about, like what we're seeing like COVID. We had like a 2001 like .com like burst. So that time, even when I was like, or when we were taking like PhD Tech, many of the people were like warning like, hey, like, okay, don't take like IT or like computer science. Okay, so these courses like don't have future. We don't know like what is going to happen. There was like a IT boom which like bursted in 2001. So there will be like crisis like COVID, like in future there will be like new crises to like come up. But based on the past experience, like these things will like pass. right? So every crisis, like I will say, will create new opportunities. Like so there'll be like new things which will be coming up. So during these times, I would say probably like brush up your skills, um, like prepare and like focus on your like fundamentals, like build your like resume, focus on like placements. Like so there are like so many other things which you can like focus, and like let's wait out like for a few years. This will definitely like pass through, right? Okay, so there's an unrelated slide I added here, which is like placements. So it took me and like many of my batchmates to realize this point like a little bit later. Okay, actually like not a little bit later, much like later, I would say. So getting good grades, preparing for placements, and building like real knowledge are actually like three different things, right? So similar to like how getting like good grade in like my 12th standard to like PG Tech is independent of preparing like for the entrance exams, preparing for placements itself is like a separate like task, right? I know that like you're all in like second year and you have like time for placements, but like check out like these sites. Okay, I like deliberately like I just like put only like three. I'll talk about like Creo in like the next in like the next week's like presentation too. But go on to like LeetCode, go on to HackerRank, create a profile for yourself, like practice like questions, because like these coding and like placement questions are like very different from like what you'll be like taught in your like studies. Okay, and building real knowledge is also like different from preparing for placements. You should treat placements as like I mean, unfortunately, like that's the reality. So in an ideal case, whatever you are preparing like for your syllabus will be helpful like for placements, will be helpful like for building real knowledge, but usually our syllabus will like will slowly catch up, right? Like the industry is like slightly moving ahead, moving like faster in like our field, so our syllabus will like will catch up like slightly like slower, right? So like prepare for these prepare for placements like separately and like probably like start now. I would say during your free time, like this like COVID, you're all like in home, you have internet, just like log in, just like start practicing like one or two like programming questions. Look at like what is being like asked there, search for like internet and like prepare for that. Because even when I was talking about like higher studies, the same thing applies there too. Studying alone won't like lead you to like kind of like a job. Even there, like the same like LeetCode, HackerRank, like the same placements thing will come into play. And like studying is like different from studying your grad school is different again like from preparing placements like later. Then I want to like actually conclude with like two other topics. So I want to actually like give you a recommendation of like books. So I mean, since this topic is like higher studies, I definitely like recommend like I can talk about like these books like for hours. We can probably like conduct like a separate session just like for books alone. But I strongly like recommend building like reading as a habit, and I have like both English recommendations, like books in English as well as books in like Tamil. So you can pick any of these. Like I categorize this like on like some topics, and if I have to like pick one book out of this, I recommend like kind of like reading Half Lion. So the biography about P.V. Narasimha Rao. He's like a prime minister of like he was a prime minister of India, and in my point of view, he was like the second most important prime minister of India after Jawaharlal Nehru. So one reason is like we do not have like good biographies which talk about our leaders like in a balanced view. They don't talk about like the success, they don't talk about like the failures, they just like generally gloss over, right? So we can talk about these books like in a very separate stand, but I strongly recommend reading like developing reading as a habit, right? And similarly, like I also have like suggestions on like books in Tamil. So say like there are a couple of like books which are important novels like based on Mahabharata. Okay, so in Tamil, I'm not sure how many of you know, Jayamohan is like a very prolific writer. So he's like currently writing a series called like Venmurasu. It's based on Mahabharata, and there were like 25 novels like being written so far, and the 26th novel is like currently being written. And like today he completed like the novel series. Every day he's like posting that on his like website, search in like venmorosa.in or jaymohan.in. And if there is like one book I would like recommend to pick, I would actually like pick Vishnupuram like out of it. So it's like a fiction like book written in like Tamil, again by Jaymohan, like probably 25 years like ago. He wrote that in 97. I recommend like reading this book. Okay, that's it. Thank you for listening patiently like for my my talk. Now let's go on to Q&A. Yes, the floor is yours. Like let me know. I can answer any questions. If you type any questions, or like feel free to like ask as well. Sorry, it's like you're all like being silent, probably like muted. So ask me any questions, like whatever I know I'll answer. And also I posted my LinkedIn on the site, which you can like connect with me. Right. So okay, Mukhil has like asked a question about like, hey, are there any scholarships like for studying abroad? So there are like few scholarships like which you like. So there was like from like Tata and like other institutes, but mostly how it works is the chances of getting like scholarships like right away like when you apply is like almost like less, right? So say for example like in Georgia Tech, I didn't have the money right after like I graduated like to go for higher studies. Okay, so basically I worked for 3 years to earn like the money like for first semester. Then I had like a loan for like for the remaining like 3 semesters. Like I had an internship like which paid for 1 semester, and like I was mentioning, Professor Mushtaq Ahmed like paid for my second year, right? But again, like, there are institutes where you have like very good scholarships, like the chances are high, and there are like educational institutes which are like really good. Say for example, like Carnegie Mellon has like few programs which give you like a good profile, but like the chances of funding are actually like really less, right? So I would say have a backup, prepare. But as far as I know, the chances of like getting funding in the beginning itself is like very limited. So the reason is, right, they are actually looking for like PhD students or like master students who can like right away hit the ground, right? So for most of these like top institutes, while we are applying, we also get students like from IITs, like Guindy Engineering College, and like across the world, right? So there are and also like the brand of like IIT is like a better brand than PhD, right? So many of these like professors, like they have like a good idea, like they know about IITs, right? So they prefer like initially like the students like from IIT. So that's why I insist, build your profile, really like work in like good companies, like kind of like so that way you build and like stay in alumni, and you'll know like and through your like friend network at that time, stay in touch with like try to like find out which universities have like funding. But on the other hand, while applying, prepare like for like have a backup plan where you might have to like use your like loan and like other things. So Aditya has a question on MBA abroad. Hey, is MBA abroad like not highly recommended? Like, what is your take on that? So see, like when we say like abroad, right, we are clubbing a couple of countries. We are clubbing Canada, like Australia, US, like and like Europe and like UK, right? So each one of them have like a different like niche point, right? So currently, as you know, like the political state in like US is like slightly different. I mean, when I came, like that's when Obama was elected, right? It was like mind-boggling, right? Like, I mean, think about like Obama getting elected, right? So now obviously, you know, the situations are like different. So immigrations are like becoming tougher. So there are challenges, right? Like which again I think will like change over time, and I feel definitely that immigrants are like contributing to US and to the countries which they are going for. So things might like change, right? But as of now, in US, like for immigration, they have like a better like policies like for STEM graduates. So in like science, technology, engineering, so the STEM graduates have like 27 months OPT. Whereas as far as I know, for MBA, like there's like only 12 months. Like so, right after you graduate, you have like 12 months time where you can like work, and then you have to like find like a work visa like within the 12 months time. Okay, so I like if my memory is right. But for engineering graduate students, you have like 27 months time. And also, if you think, right, like each of these countries have their own reasons and like requirements on like why they are like opening up like their higher studies, right? Why do they need like students in the first place? So in US, they actually need more researchers. So in specifically in engineering and like technology field, right? So say for example, why don't they have like in liberal arts, right? So what happens to students who go and study in US in liberal arts, or like for some other department which is like not in engineering? Because right now they need the skill set like for engineering, and that's what like they require like people for, right? I mean, you can think of similar things, right? Like say in Tamil Nadu, like we need different set of like skills like for like kind of like companies like which are working in Tirupur, whereas like companies which are in Bangalore, like they need a different skill set, right? So my suggestion is like for MBA, like think twice, but for engineering, like I would actually like recommend. How can we improve our like profiles? Any field which is like important for future, right? So that's the question like from Aishwarya. So again, like I'll tell you like what I did. Okay, so because again things are like changing. So I would say like at this time it will be very difficult for you to like predict, hey, like what field like might come up like in future as like great field, right? For example, like right after my graduate, I just like after my masters, I thought smart grid might come up big. Okay, so I chose like a team inside Cisco and I joined smart grid team. But right after a year, I was laid off because like there was like no funding for smart grid. Smart grid takes probably like, will take like multiple years to like even decades to come up, right? And even like when we were like studying undergrad, right? Like then the craze was like robotics will like become big, right? Biotech will become like big. So the chances of what will become big, we won't be able to like tell today, right? Like today there's like no magic wand, but there are like indications, right? So follow where the money is. I mean, like how much ever like it sounds not like a right ethically not like a right statement, like follow where the money is. Like wherever the research funding like goes, wherever like the companies are like really hiring in like big way, those fields like those are the things like which will expand potentially like big, right? So one way of like building profiles, I would say, is like actually work for like better companies, right? Like say for example, prepare like in your placements, aim for like product companies than like services companies. I mean, of course, it doesn't mean that like people who are not going abroad like right after like studying in like working in services company, but at least working for 2 or 3 years, right, gives you like a good background on what you want to like study, why you want to like go abroad, working like companies. So that gives you like an idea of like kind of like which field you want to like work, right? Say for example, I was a QA engineer in Cisco like for 3 years, but I didn't study anything related to like QA or like automation in my masters, right? But by working in like Cisco, it gave me like so right after my graduate, actually like I joined Infosys like for 6 months. I did my internship in like Cisco. My manager like in Cisco said I will get like a job right after like Cisco, but things like changed during that time. So he said, yeah, I don't have an opening right now, but probably like opening like in my team will be
study
like
abroad. எங்க ஸ்டூடண்ட் வெபினார் போயிட்டு இருக்கு. ஓ சாரி.
Sure, no issues, man. So right after like my like I didn't get like a job in Cisco like right after like my like internship, right? So then I went to like Infosys. Infosys is like where for like 6 months I worked in like Infosys, right? So during that time, like I was constantly in touch with my manager in like Cisco too. I was looking for like, let me know if there is like an opening, because personally I know like I wanted to like study abroad later, um, uh, and kind of like having like a profile in Cisco is like better than like Infosys, and also the salary in Cisco is like at the time it was like close to 3 times like in Infosys as well. So I would say like focus on like the things you can control like right now in your hand. So one is like definitely like focus on like it's better to have like good grades. So like have like good grades. That's one. Prepare like for placements, like kind of like apply and like go for like aim for like kind of like definitely like much like high paying companies like Cisco, PayPal, like Microsoft, and like so on. And then like stay in like alumni network, and kind of so these are the things like which help me, right? Like so there are like more opportunities like now. So one is like we definitely like kind of like we'll talk more in like the next call. Actually, I have time. I don't know how much time you all have. Like we can talk a little bit longer if you want. I leave it to like Sharda ma'am. If we can continue this like lecture for a little bit longer, we can. But we can also like talk in next week as well.
Yeah, Vishwanathan, good morning. I am Uma Mageshwari, heading the IT department.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning. So it was so nice, your presentation, giving a very good awareness on the higher studies and abroad mainly. Because people at second year, they may not know much, I think. But at least they will know how to drive themselves if they wanted to do their higher studies. It was really a good eye-opener. I too listened. Some of your points was very valuable. So it is a very good thing. But one of the important information I too wanted is because the fields are often changing in IT department, right? IT field.
Right. Yes.
So which is the basic knowledge that they have to gain so that they can go into any field that is prevailing? So that basic knowledge or concepts that they can learn from now will help them in their future. Please, can you give some awareness on about this?
Yep. So you asked a very valid like question, ma'am. So I would say actually like there are like some fundamental like blocks, right? Definitely, I'm interested. We can connect later after this like call with you, ma'am.
Okay.
So on a high level, like irrespective of like the companies, like the following 3 are like 4 fields like apply widely to across like many fields. Okay. So one is the operating system, data structures, and like algorithms, man.
Okay.
So more of like these 3 form like the fundamental building blocks. So even in like the universities like Georgia Tech, you can choose like any variety of like fields like depending on your interest, but you have to like at least choose one course either in operating system or computer architecture. So I like we can connect after this. Like so there are like 5 or 6 courses, man, which I want to like highlight. And the thing they are focusing on there is more than teaching like what is the latest now, which they are also like teaching. They are focusing that for PhD students, but for like more for undergrad and like grad, they are giving an overview of how did it evolve. Like so, say for example, like in operating system, they are just giving like how did like Linux evolve, how did like DOS evolve. Like so that's like the hierarchy like they give. And like they also insist very much on practical applications. So for example, in our college, like in undergrad, we usually like take 6 subjects or 7 subjects like per semester now.
Yes.
In abroad, usually what they teach is like you take like 3 subjects at the max, each with 3 credits, and that 3 subjects itself will take all your time. So like I mentioned about Georgia Tech, but like Georgia Tech is almost like a boot camp. So it will be like very you will just feel like you are constantly like doing something almost all the time, where like pretty much you have to like stay in like the lab or like college. Like till 10 o'clock, like 11 o'clock, midnight, like most times. This, if you talk to any student in, like, say, Carnegie Mellon, like Georgia Tech, like any of these, or like any best universities, they all stress that the curriculum itself is like really like stressful. That I want to like again like share.
Okay.
But yes, we can. I'm very much interested in contributing like more on them. We can connect after the call, and definitely I'm interested in.
Yeah, thank you. Actually, we will send our curriculum. We have also modified, not too many subjects now. We are reducing to 5 subjects at the maximum, maybe with additional lab components. So we will send our curriculum, present curriculum. You can suggest us how much we can further improve also.
Agreement.
Yeah, I'll ask Sharda to mail you, or if I get her, I will also mail you. Okay. Yeah.
Sure. Yes, I actually kind of like I was reviewing our like curriculum like recently too, so I have like suggestions for. Yes, like I'll definitely want to.
Yeah, please pass on. Thank you very much. Sharda, you can take over.
So the feedback from the students. Any feedback?
So your explanation how it is like to study abroad was really useful, sir. Looking forward for the next session.
Yes, sure, Gokul. Yes, you can call me Viswanathan. Yes, like so yes. I'll also share my email like I'll share my email like here on this slide. I also shared my phone number like with Sharda ma'am. So if any of you need any help like in future, you can reach out. And definitely like I suggest like sending email. We'll stay in touch. Okay. Yeah. So okay, let me answer like few more questions. Like so yeah. I can stay online and like for another like 30 minutes or so. We can like talk. I have time. It's like just Sunday night for me, like 9:30 p.m. here. So we can talk like more. So one question again Aishwarya asked was like higher studies in like Greece or Germany is not like worth it more than higher studies in USA. Being IT field, USA is preferable for higher studies. Many are saying, is that true? Germany is preferred for mechanical students. So so on a high level, right? Like if you consider, this is just like my recommendation. Okay, so this is just my opinion. This changes like depending on the time and the year. So if you look at like Australia and Canada, right? Like many students actually go to Australia and Canada too. So the population of Australia and Canada is like actually 2 crores or 3 crores. Okay, like it's actually 3 crores. Okay, it's Kerala's population. And also the economy, if you see of Australia and Canada, like they are primarily a natural wealth-based economy. They just like mine natural resources and sell abroad. Like they are like they sell to China. Like they mine like iron ores. So their entire economy, like be the finance system and everything in Australia and Canada, are built on like these two, like just like mining the natural wealth and selling the natural wealth. There are like only few things where they are creating like product. There are of course like product companies. There are like of course innovation happening like from those two countries, but relatively their scale is like much smaller, right? So if there is like any country I would consider like which will rival US, like especially like California, right? Like if you take like California's like size, like if you look at like California's like economy, Germany will be like the only other country which can rival in innovation. Okay, so it doesn't matter what the innovation is like being driven, whether it's mechanical or like whatever, because like our field IT is like more an allied field for many of these like core structures, right? So my suggestion will be like anywhere in Europe, Germany will be like the country. Okay, if anywhere in like other than like Germany, I would say US, and the third other country I would say is like India itself, right? I mean, of course there is China, but there are like a lot of unknowns. In my view, I consider US, Germany, China, and like India are like the top places like for our field, right? Like for like computer science or IT. Not only now, even in future decades, like the way I see the amount being invested in higher education, in like research, in like California or like the US like kind of like the way they structure their system, correct? In US will empower like kind of like innovation like for quite being. And India by its like sheer scale and like size will come up as well. Okay, so it might take time, but definitely like India also has like the biggest scope. So I would say like the future belongs to like US, India, Germany, and China. There are countries, yes, like South Korea is there, like Japan is there. But say for example like Japan, right? The immigration like process for like Japan is like not very friendly, right? Like so we can go on talking about like South Korea or like Japan, but personally like I would recommend Germany, like US, India as like the places like for higher studies, like especially in our field, right? So one other question is like, is language like a big barrier in pursuing masters in Germany? So my friend, like if you look on my presentation, like there was a person called like Vaishnavi Devi Jairam. She's a director in, she studied in Karlsruhe University. So in many of the European universities, like kind of like the fees are like relatively like less compared to like the top universities in like US. So what she says is like you don't need to know like German to study there. In fact, you don't need to know German to actually like start working there. But to excel, obviously you need to know like German. And for example, like she studied during our final year, like she studied like for 6 months like in German. She spent time in like in kind of like learning the languages. So if I have to like give example, right, like in India we German, right? Many of my friends who went to Karnataka, right, they learn to like speak in Kannada. Like I kind of like learned to speak Kannada. Like many of my friends like learn to speak Kannada. They learn to like read like Kannada. So be curious, like in whichever like state, whichever place you go, spend the time in like learning that language, right? Like so that will help you like always, right? Like so learning like more languages is always like better, and also it comes by like kind of like if we need to, like then we will, right? Like if there is a will, there is a way kind of like statement. So to study or to get a job, initially you don't need to know like the languages, but say for example you want to like kind of like grow in your career, right? You want to like manage like everyone there, then definitely it is good to like kind of like understand their culture, understand like their like language, understand like what are the top kind of like literary books like there. So that's the only way I see we can learn about them like more, right? Like so that way we can collaborate and like work more.
My wholehearted thanks to Mr. Vishwanathan Mahalingam for spending his valuable time with us and giving an insight for higher education in abroad, and also recommending a few books and also placement sites for students. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Dear students, I have posted the feedback link in the chat box. Please fill out. Thank you all.
So Vishwanathan, you have something to say?
Yeah, no, I just like shared my slides here on the link bottom, but yeah, it was like really nice talking to you, and like I really like thank like the department like for this like opportunity. So we have been talking about
our pleasure.
Yeah, we have been talking about contacting like our alumni and network for like some time, but like probably like COVID gave that like time and opportunity. I mean, this weekend we had a long weekend, like this was like a 3-day holiday here in US. If not for COVID, like probably we all will be like in holidays and like break. So it was like I mean, these are the things like I say that COVID like brings you new opportunities, right? Like new way to connect, and like we were like even now like all our classmates like including Anand, we were like in a WhatsApp group, like we were in touch. So he shared like the college like that hey, like there is like a talk being organized, and like some of my other friends are also interested in contributing back. So we'll stay in touch together. Like so, yeah. I wish you all the best.
Thank you. So we have to build our alumni network strongly. Yeah, with all your support only. Thank you.
Yes, for sure, man. Yes, we'll do that.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Have a all.
Thank you.
Good
I
day
thank
for all.
Sarada for organizing this webinar. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you.